So, what we're going to go over today is we are going to kind of change gears a little bit, and we are going to talk about different mediums that you can use to interact with AI. So when I say the word prompt, most people think I have either typed or talked into the AI and given it verbal instructions on what to do, right? That is not always the case, as sometimes it is so much easier to just send an image into the AI than to describe what's going on within the image, right? So like one of the things that we use it for with our mobile home parks is tenant violations. So we'll have our lease as kind of one piece of context, and then you take a picture and you say to the AI, identify everything that would be a violation based on this lease in this picture. And it'll go through, and you can even say, circle it, highlight it, do whatever, right? And so it goes through and it says, you know, there's toys out here, there's this flag instead of a curtain, there's the skirting that needs repaired, there's whatever it is, right? And so the AI, it's a much simpler task to just upload the images and your context and say, hey, give me all the violations. And then you look at the image, you say, hey, you missed X, Y, and Z, add that to your context and give me this again, right? And so it simplifies it from being like, hey, I'm going to give you this picture that shows this lot and this and blah, 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 and writing, you know, a 40-line prompt. It condenses it to analyze this image and then give me the required feedback back. So the things that happened in AI last week, one, GPT upgraded the model that all free users get. OpenAI also hit the brakes on GPT-6, or what are they calling it? It's like Project like Altos or something. That's basically the next version of ChatGPT. So Claude with Fable 5 right now is probably the best model. When this releases, it's expected that that will supplant Fable as the best model. The other thing that happened is, and this is potentially has the chance to become intrusive, is Google is now writing down, it's basically giving written summaries of what happens on your doorbell camera. So it's cool because it's like, oh, I don't have to go through all that footage. I can just look and it'll say, hey, at 11:59 p.m. there was a bear rummaging through my trash cans, whatever, right? I don't have to go through the footage and be like, was that a thief? Was that a bear? Whatever it is. And that's rolling out to basically all security systems that Google has some hand in. So it's not just, I think they're predominantly with Nest. It's not just that system, it's rolling out everywhere. Now, why that's important is because they are literally using your information to train their video models. So for video creation that Google does pretty well as video analysis, they are basically giving your doorbell camera information to their model. It's transcribing it, and then they are using that to train their models to give better interpretations, right? So it will make the product better, but it's also mildly intrusive. Also, it does that too. So last week we built a CRM just using Google Sheets. Right now, we're going to go over, especially with you guys being Compass agents and getting access to Gemini, we're going to do a lot of things in Gemini today with the images because Google, just like we talked about them having all that video training data, they have a lot on images as well. So they are probably the best right now as it relates to managing images, working with images, and working with video. Because Google is one of the rare models that you can actually upload a video to, and it will give you feedback on that video. The longer the video, the more difficult it is to actually get useful inputs out of it. But the other nice thing with Google is they own YouTube. So if you ever have a long video that you want to get analysis on, upload it to YouTube and then take it to Gemini because Google owns YouTube and Gemini. They talk to each other very nicely.
So how would I do that? You're saying I just download it to my YouTube channel?
Yeah, so you'd go to your YouTube, you'd push it up to there, and then you'd go grab that link and you'd take that to, and then it uses, I think, like a package called FFmpeg, and it goes and it has transcripts, it can actually pull snippets from the data. Like what I've been doing with the innovation labs and actually just started completely my own ecosystem last week was I upload it to YouTube, I take that link and I put it into my content creation system, and it does everything from identifying screenshot, like captions, adding things to the screenshots, like doing my whole video editing process so that I don't have to touch a thing anymore. And it produces like clips that actually make sense. It's actually like a video editing studio, just from the link in that YouTube video.
So if I had watched a video that had given, a 30-minute video with tons of information about the market,
Mm-hmm.
and I told AI to, would it create a video for me, or could it just take the text from it? I mean,
Yep.
what are all the possibilities of it?
Yeah, so it depends on that depends on how technical you are. So like if you're a beginner, you will be able to get like transcripts and be able to get like have it script a video for you, potentially do images that you could post on social. If you get a little more advanced, you have access to things that it can actually create videos about videos. So you could get like 3 or 4 YouTube links and say, hey, each of these videos is a market update. They have some differing opinions, da 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 da. I like this opinion from this video, this opinion from this video, this opinion from this video. Get the full research on that and create it into something that is uniquely my own. And so if you have like brand contacts, it'll do the whole thing in your branded methodology.
I love that, because I watch a lot of videos before 4G, or
Yep.
roundtable discussions, and so I have all these thoughts in my head rumbling around. If I could get something to just say, hit the highlights of these 3 that I just watched,
Yep.
that would be the coolest for me.
I have a friend who lets me beta test all my weird ideas in her company, and I think this is the video. So this is completely made with me just talking to AI. There's no video editing, no nothing. You can tell that because it doesn't have a background track yet. I still need to, like Google can create audio for backgrounds. That's something else that Google does really well. If you upload a video, you can say create an audio track that matches this video perfectly, and then you can upload that to social media in that way. So you have a background track, you have your actual video, all that kind of stuff. But this is no anything. So, and this is like a full video that goes through a market report of kind of what's happening in the market. And sorry, it's probably small and difficult to see, but it's also exactly optimized for social media. It's designed to give you quick information, transition to more quick information to hopefully optimize retention, and then it kind of gives facts. And so this was literally, I put in her website and just like what I wanted the video to be about. And I said, you have no additional context, just go create something that you think this realtor would find valuable. And so that's what it went and did. And so this was no code at all. And one thing like with social media and like landing pages, all that kind of stuff, is video performs substantially better than still 90% of the time. So if you can take something that's a picture that you were going to upload and take it to AI and say, turn this into a 3-second video, the video will perform typically a little bit better than the still frame would, just based on social media algorithms and all that fun stuff. And then the other thing, if you're creating content, and this one doesn't have it, but ideally what would be on this first frame is a human picture, whether it's her picture or someone else. The first thing a majority of people want to see on like social channels, landing pages, stuff like that is a human face. You get a lot more likelihood that they'll watch if they see a human face or something that's like, what the hell's going on there? one of those two things should be the first thing that they see. And oftentimes you see videos it'll show like a human like doing this with like a football coming at them, and then it goes into the video when you click on it. That's the type of stuff that is what's called a hook. And so like you can have AI create all that stuff. Like if you're like, I think it would be a really good hook because we're having, I don't know, a cold weather snap in July of showing like an igloo at the beach with me sitting on top of it, right? You can create that in AI as your thumbnail and then have it go into the video after that. And so that's kind of one of the ways to...
Are you recreating a video of another video?
No, so it's taking the facts of that other video. So it could be like... You could have a video that you're like, I really like the depth in which they broke down the Sumner County like housing inventory, but everything else is not really my style. You can say, hey, Gemini, go to YouTube, grab screenshots of everything mentioning the Sumner County housing and transcript of everything mentioning Sumner County housing and turn that into a video of my own.
When you say grab, is it like facts written out, or how does it know what the facts are? Is it because it's listening to it?
Yeah, so it depends on, like if let's say you're asking it to go to YouTube and grab stuff from a video, it'll go and it'll pull the transcript using, I think most of the major companies are using a library called FFmpeg, and it goes and it pulls the transcript, and then what it'll often do, like Google Gemini is really good because it can actually analyze the video, but a lot of them will go and grab screenshots looking for where they're mentioning Sumner County, and then it'll go back through and actually watch the video, grab the screenshots, and then recreate stuff. Like if you have brand context, it'll recreate it for you.
Well, it's okay if it comes back accurate, and like, I think he's asking, are you
Like,
stealing something from somebody?
Well, like, because when you shoot something, it typically belongs to somebody, right?
It depends, yeah. And it depends if they're like, let's say they're using open source data, like they're using NAR survey results to get the information, right? So the AI will recreate it in your brand format. And that's what a lot of these guys are doing, is they're not getting new information, they're taking old information and repurposing it for their brand. And so is it stealing? I don't think so. As long as you're putting your own spin, like if you're just literally screenshotting and then being like, this is what I made, then yes, 100% that's stealing. But if you're saying like, hey, I grabbed this, put my own spin on it, and create it in my brand voice, then it's a you thing. And that's what a lot of these creators are doing, is like, if you notice like on YouTube, one creator will come out with a video and then 10 creators will come out with a video that's almost the same. In that same niche. Like it's very prevalent in like AI, it's very prevalent in like general business discussions. Those types of YouTubers, they'll basically be like, oh, that's a really good idea, I'm gonna take a version of that. And so maybe the first one they're talking about, Sumner County housing is super unaffordable, right? That might be the premise. So you might take that same data and say, Sumner County housing is starting to become more affordable, and here's why I think that. And then someone else might take those stats and be like, Sumner County housing is the best in the state for schools, and go in a completely different direction with it, right? And so it's all about how you're presenting the actual information that you have and what you're doing in comparison to the source material, is the way I kind of look at it. So if I create a video that's talking about the exact same material in the exact same way as another creator, like I find myself a little douchey for doing that, right? Like, so I would want to put my own spin on it so that, and like, it's also not a bad thing. Like people think that it's a bad thing to credit other people, but if I have a good information source and I say like, hey, I grabbed this from this guy's YouTube channel, rock and roll, right? And that's another, like most YouTubers or content creators are happy when other people use their content if they get credit for it. And so that's another kind of, I don't want to call it a gray area because I don't think it is, but it's kind of one of those that's like most creators would be thankful as long as they're getting some type of credit.
Do vertical videos get more views than like the horizontal ones? Do you know?
Depends on the format. So if you're posting on like Insta or TikTok or YouTube Shorts, then you want a vertical for the formatting. If you're posting on like long form YouTube, then horizontal's fine. Yep. And yeah, so you can really speed up time by understanding when you should be using images versus when you should be using text, right? And so if there's a situation where you're like, I'm about to spend 5 minutes describing this situation, if you can get a picture of it, you can put that in so much more easily. And that's like super useful on like listing descriptions and stuff as well. You can grab pictures of the listing and throw it in there and say, hey, write a sample listing description for this property. And it might write things and it'll say like, the countertops look like they're granite. You know for a fact they're granite, go in and make that change. Say, hey, the countertops are granite. So like after you run that initial image, it's gonna come back with a listing description that may or may not be accurate. Once you read through it, you make all those changes. Like I know there's granite countertops, the square footage is actually 1,200 square feet versus 1,000. And you just make all the little corrections that you know that it doesn't, send that back, and then you get a full-on listing description that's less than half the time it would have taken you to write it from scratch, right? And so using images and knowing when to use images is going to be one of those, it's a skill that allows you to move a lot faster if you know when to use it. Some people try to use it all the time and it slows them down. They're like, this sucks, I don't want to do this, which I understand. But if you can understand like, hey, I'm about to spend a bunch of words describing something that a picture would much more easily resolve, I tend to always go for the picture. And so like this is kind of what we were talking about, where AI can tell you what's going on in a picture. It can tell you the details. It can tell you what it thinks about a picture. But you are the person who's ultimately responsible for the reality of that picture. So if it comes back with some stuff that's way off base, it's not the AI's fault if that goes out to a client, right? Like it's still your responsibility to manage that and make sure that it's accurate before it goes out to a client. And so it's super duper important that you're quality controlling the AI outputs. It's always, what I tell people is that there should be a human in the loop before anything irreversible happens. So if I'm about to send an email to a client, for me personally, and not everyone's like this, for me personally, I want to read that email before it goes out, because once that email's out, I either have to do damage control or some other type of resolution, when a 5-minute read of that email could have resolved that whole problem, right? So I like to have my emails drafted by AI, but not sent, not yet anyway. I'm sure at some, and there are emails that I will just be like, okay, go ahead and send it. Like if I'm doing cold outreach, rock and roll, send the email. For me personally, because I know that my systems have done enough research, have validated enough, have done the things they need to do where I'm like mostly okay. I did get an email back from this woman. I think her name was Tara, and she's like, why? It was like after the third or fourth email, and she's like, why do your emails keep calling me Clarence? The emails are really good, but why are they calling me Clarence? And so I was like, that's a great question. I'm not sure exactly. And so I went back in, and it turns out that was actually a really good attention grabber, because she's like, I wasn't gonna like engage with these, but then it called me Clarence, and I saw an interesting video, so I went and read it. So like maybe I should start calling everyone Clarence. I don't know. So there are some things that you want to make sure, because again, with images, it's super easy to snap a picture, send the image. The things you don't want to include or you want to make sure are not in the picture are like if you have any passwords, if you have client personally identifying information, like all that kind of stuff, you want to make sure, because it's super easy to send that with the image in bulk and have it just as a part of the image, and now it's in the AI. If it's something that you don't want in the AI, crop the picture and just give it a little bit of extra written context. So that is something that we want to make sure that we're not doing. One thing that I really love to use the image method for is troubleshooting any of my tech problems. So if I have a warning screen that pops up, and I'm like, I have no idea what a 507 error even is, I will take a screenshot of it, push that into my AI, and say, hey, my computer is running into this error. What is it? How do I fix it? And it'll actually tell me like, oh, that's a server-side error on Netlify's account. There's nothing you can do about it. You just have to wait till service gets restored. That alone probably saved me 2 hours of trying to fix something, right? Because it's like, hey, the thing that you would never suspect to have a problem is having a problem. That's why your app's not building. Okay, great. So I just need to wait for that thing to not have a problem, or I need to try to figure out their solution on my own. One of the two, right? And so like that's one of those things where it probably saved me 2 or 3 hours of trying to fix a problem that I couldn't actually fix. And so there's a lot of value in that, in being like, okay, I understand that there's nothing really I can do. I'm going to move on to my next task and then come back to this when it's actually functioning again. And so like,
so how we were creating context cards for your brand, right?
Yep.
So if I take that and then put it into Gemini, because obviously let's say I'm working with Claude, right?
Yep.
And I have that, and then I put that in there. That way, Gemini knows like my look and feel of my brand, and then they can create videos based on that. Do you recommend that?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Filling it in that way.
Yeah, and so like I like giving the AI source media, especially if you're going to create a video, because the AI does a really good job manipulating video around people. And so like if you have a video where you're doing like talking or like, hey, I'm outside of X, Y, and Z address, you know, da 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 da, we've got X amount of showing, blah, 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 whatever you're doing, you can then take that, put it into Gemini and say, hey, add some AI effects, do X, Y, and Z, and I want to end this video by flying away on a dragon, right? And so it'll be like the whole thing and it'll look normal, da 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 da, and then all of a sudden you swoop out with a dragon, right? And so there's really cool things that you can do right now with it if it's being used as a supplement to something you already have. It's harder to create from scratch with the AI because it has nothing to base off of. But if you give it a starting point, and that's one of the reasons that pictures are really useful, you can say like, hey, this is my starting point. Like as an example, one of the things I did for an old client was we had their house getting crushed by SpaghettiOs or something, and the hook for the video was like, will insurance cover this, right? Like find out if your insurance will cover a SpaghettiO like overflow or whatever it is, right? And so you can have like real things that then get overtaken by like crazy things, and that's where you get videos where they're not necessarily considered AI slop, they're considered a more useful tool because it's like, oh, that's real. Oh, there's the AI. That's more like a cinematic thing than I created this specifically to try to sell something.
Do you recommend, so I was in this training the other day at the Sumner Realtors, and it was actually about AI, and this guy was talking about how he uses Big View or whatever to edit videos, but do you need a program to do that if you have AI?
Nah.
You don't really, right?
No.
And I really wish I had thought about that earlier. Do you know how often I will record things and then it's such a pain in the butt to do stuff with the recordings that I never do it?
Oh.
I have so many recordings of things, I just never do anything with it.
Take all your recordings, put them into a folder, ask the AI to categorize and analyze each one and create 5 videos from cuts of the videos that you made. So that's one of the things that I do. All of my source media goes into one place.
Well, I had seen a video about how all the things that Hendersonville had done in this, like basically how they spent your money this year, and all the things that they did.
Yep.
I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And I saw that somebody had posted it, and I was like, oh, this video is super long. I really wanted to watch it, but I thought it was. So anyway, so while you were talking, I put it into that, and I said, hey, here's a picture of me. Like, how can I tell this story better? And then it just created it for, I mean, I look a little weird because it's not 100% me.
Yep.
But now I was like, okay, maybe I really should just record some random videos with me, so at least it has that. And then
Yeah.
and then it just created me in telling the story.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my God.
And it'll self-improve too. So as you give it more context, more image, like from here, from this, all those angles, it'll start to get better and better and better. And then,
I mean, should you even just do that? Like record some random, you don't have to be even saying much. Like, hey, I'm talking to you right now, look at me, and that's really all, that way it has a context of you.
One of the things I recommend is like if you've ever had those apps that like you need to renew your passport or something and you have to hold here and look like that. So basically just what do apps, like if you just kind of think about from like a general structure standpoint, what do apps need when they're trying to validate your face and make sure that's you? And then just do that into the screen, right? So, and do the thing, and then just give it those, like as a context card basically, because that is now part of your context card, right? And you can say like, this is who I am, use this person as any video modeling, make sure to be very accurate, blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
And decrease lines.
Yeah.
100%.
But yeah, so that's...
You look 15 pounds.
Yeah.
See me, subtract 15 pounds.
I want to be ripped. I want to be... But yeah, that's 100%. Like that's one of the best use cases is like putting yourself in things that look like they have value so that you can throw them on socials or throw them to, like another great thing to do with that kind of stuff is to then send that social post to people who it would be impactful for. Like if you're talking about like interest rates and you have a bunch of lender relationships, send that video to the lenders and be like, here's how, you know, this video can help, blah, 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 blah. If you want to share it, and try to get organic shares of your stuff, because if your stuff is on other people's platforms, the AI weighs it even more heavily. So when it's looking at recommending a realtor, if you're on this mortgage lender's website and you're on this person's social media and you're on here and da-da-da-da-da, it's going to look at you as being like, oh, wow, this person is like who everyone goes to. Let's feed her into the system. And yeah, so it's the ability to use pictures to like get a jump start in projects is also super huge. Like if you're writing a contract for a house and you're like, I don't even know what's wrong with this house, and you just go take a bunch of pictures, you can say like, hey, I'm doing this for a buyer. This house has a bunch of stuff wrong with it. Give me any ideas based on these pictures of repairs that we might have to negotiate for. It's all that kind of stuff.
Didn't you just do something like that for somebody? I mean, you didn't do that part of it, but you just did a video.
Oh,
If
yeah.
somebody wasn't there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like we kind of talked about with the context cards, like you can have it stage the room in their specific style, right? So a lot of people are doing AI staging right now, but they're staging it just in general staging stuff, right? Like just like you would hire a company to do, they're taking the picture and it's general staging. But if you know that one client likes antique furniture and one client likes modern white furniture, whatever, you can take the picture for the client with antique furniture, load if you have a context card for them, or basically, so context card is a description of things that are unlikely to change. So as an example, if you're like, I'm a Compass realtor, I focus on this area of town, I do X, Y, it's like things that are like kind of semi-permanent, right? And so if you have a context card for your client, and that context card says they want to live in an area with great schools, they want home with lots of light, they like, you know, X style furniture, they like X style of whatever it is. You upload that, you upload the image, and you say, stage this room for this client. It'll stage it with furniture that matches their style. And so if you trade out client cards and you do the same thing, it'll stage it again with furniture that matches their style this time, right? And so you're connecting their vision to your asset, not just saying, hey, this is what it would look like if some random person put furniture in here. You're able to say, hey, this is what would happen if you put furniture in here. Right? And so I kind of go back to like AI does one of two things, and I don't think there's an in-between for real estate. Is it either absolutely kills human connection, which for some people isn't the worst thing in the world, or it can absolutely bolster human connection, right? And so the way you bolster it is by using it to make people feel like they're everyone's special little guy, right? Like, hey, you are so special, I did this just for you. Took me 10 seconds, you don't need to know that, right? And so like really trying to get people to connect with kind of the intangibles of what you're doing, because that's like the information isn't the hard thing anymore, right? Like anyone can go to ChatGPT, and whether they get good information or bad information, they're going to get information one way or the other, right? And so one, having people understand when it is bad information, and two, understanding that that's going to happen, and just trying to get ahead of it as much as you can. But so screenshots into AI for solving tech problems is one of my favorite things of all time. Super duper simple, and it turns everybody into their own IT person, because the AI can explain it to you at whatever level you need it to be explained at. And that's something that is, again, like I said, it saved me probably 2 hours on one example, and that's, for me, that was massive. And so, so like if you're having a problem like on your computer and you're like, this is so annoying, take a screenshot of it and put it into AI. That's like anytime like I do this now, I'm like, okay, that's a sign that I should be shoving something into AI, right? Because like if you know how to get to that problem solving loop with AI, this is obsolete, because you just skip that step and go right to solving the actual issue.
And won't all chiropractors get out of business?
Don't worry, I still do that enough in regular life. Document questions are a really good way to, like, this is a really good way to get things into AI if you have questions on like a large document. So if you don't have a digital version of the document, like if you don't have that 100-page PDF that you can shove in here, it's super easy to grab a couple pictures of the things that you have questions about, and ideally you'd take pictures of the whole document, feed it in, and whatever. But if it's like, oh man, I've got this long document, I don't really understand this paragraph that's been written in legalese, like I just need to get through this, you can snap a picture of it, upload it, and you're kind of off to the races as far as where you need to go with understanding, right? Because again, it can break down that complex contract in terms that a fifth grader could understand, and you can go back and then start engaging with it at a much deeper level of understanding. And that's just from the picture. So super duper simple as a way to kind of shortcut typing or pasting a bunch of text. So this is some of the stuff you can do. So you can say like, quote the sections that matter, give me page numbers. So if you're like, what are the things that I need to talk to my client about with this document? I am like not really sure. I don't want to go to an expert straight away. I'm going to go to the expert, but you can ask it, give me excerpts of the most important things I need to do and tell me exactly where they are in the document or where they are in the picture. You can have it rewrite stuff, right? So if you're like, oh, we need to change this clause in the document, take a picture of it, put it into the AI and say, hey, this is the clause that it is currently. Here are the changes we need to make to it. Give me a fresh paragraph. Do that, and and again, you're bypassing a lot of time texting or typing or trying to talk it into existence. So this can, again, impact listing photos. So if you put a listing photo in, you can say, hey, what are all the things that my buyer would want to negotiate about this? Or you can put it in as a check and say, hey, I'm working on this listing for a seller. What are the top 10 things that a buyer's gonna come at us for? Whatever it is. Or like I said, you can use it to stage for personally. You can use it to, you can actually have it add labels. So if you're like, oh, the buyer probably didn't see this, I want to make sure it's very clear. You can say, circle this and put a label beside this crack in the frame or whatever it is, right? And so images, like I said, can get a lot of unique use cases that would take you a bunch of time to type, and you may be less accurate than just throwing the image in there. So that's virtual staging. One of the cool things with Gemini is you can actually do live chats with it on the mobile app. So you can open the mobile app, you can press the start button, and you can actually go around the room and be like, hey, what's this? Hey, what's this? Tell me about this. And it will just work like in live fashion. So it's pretty neat that you can have like a literal visual video assistant that's seeing what you see, and you can just kind of talk to it about what you're seeing. One of the easiest ways I recommend to test this is to just like put some listing photos into the AI and just work with it until you get a really cool graphic out of it. Something that you're happy with. And when I say cool, I mean, that's so dependent on each person in this room, what they think is cool, like what the criteria is for that. And that's one of the things that is useful in the age of AI, is maintaining your personal identity of what is cool and not just uploading the pictures and saying, hey, make this. Because, hey, make this, you'll end up with things that look like everybody else if you don't have a context card, if you're not like aggressively prompting. And then one of my favorite hacks for AI is after you get the picture in there, using voice to talk about everything you want. So the thing that I've been doing recently with AI is I haven't really been prompting it. I've been pressing record and just letting it brain dump. So I will just press the button and then I will just start talking about all the things in my brain that I need to either change or adjust or whatever about this. And so I've had ones that are like, oh, that's too long, I'm gonna need to like delete that. Or like sometimes it creates really, really cool things. And so again, I highly recommend that once the image is in there, using voice, because your brain doesn't catch up to your voice like it has to your fingers, oftentimes. And so super easy exercise is to put things, like put a couple listing pictures in there, talk about an asset that you would like it to create. So maybe you're like, hey, I want an Instagram carousel of these images. Start with a blank empty room, and then stage one with antique furniture, stage one with modern furniture, stage one with Japanese style, stage one with Eastern European style, like whatever it is, mid-century modern, whatever buzzwords that are happy at the time, right? And then you can create, okay, here's what your room would look like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. And you can post that on your Instagram as, you know, hey, look at how we can reimagine design or whatever it is. And then the basic thing with the images is add it to your problem-solving loop. So if you're like, okay, I have X, Y, and Z problems, can images being inserted into the AI chat add value to what you're doing, or is it superfluous? Like, can I add this image and it's going to give the AI more than I could if I was just writing text to it? And that's always kind of the filter. There's actually been research done, and I think they found that it's sometimes more efficient if you take a picture. So like if you write out your whole prompt, take a picture of it, and then upload that picture, is it as efficient as if you were to just type in the prompt? Sometimes yes, right? So sometimes just uploading a picture is the more useful solution. Uploading a picture of text, one of my favorite things to do off of like YouTube videos and stuff is to like screenshot slides that I'm like, ooh, I want the information off of that slide. There's no way to get the information off of that slide. How do I do that? Take a screenshot, push it into AI and say, transcribe this. And now I have it as text that is much more workable in the AI. Like video is difficult to get things out of, or it can be. Text is much easier. So if you want to manipulate the data, try to get it into text, and then you much more easy to do something with it. So the easiest thing to do with this is just to start on your phone, like try out uploading a couple pictures and just kind of talking through, seeing what outputs you get. And trying it in different scenarios, like trying like, hey, I've got this inspection report, here are the things that the inspection report identified. Go through each of these, review it, and tell me what it's going to cost to fix it. And if you have pictures, it'll be able to see like, oh, that pipe looks like X, Y, and Z pipe. That's going to cost this much per square foot. That's this bracket, X, Y, and Z. It gives you the ability to be more specific. And that's it. But yeah, images as a medium are underutilized because most people don't even think to throw images in as part of their prompt, right? And it's very useful context, especially in real estate, because so much of what you guys are interacting with is what the buyer sees, right? And so being able to create visuals that make them like, oh, wow, this is exactly what I want. If you can create a visual that gets them to be like, that's exactly what I want, it goes a long way in my experience as far as building that human connection and them being like, wow, you know me so well. Even if it was made with AI, it's because you know them so well, you executed so well that they feel like, oh, wow, this is like personal to me. This isn't for anybody else. It says, hey, Jim, and it's got my furniture styling in the room. Like that's like a big deal to people, especially people who aren't super AI savvy, because they're like, wow, this took you so long, right? And so just, like I said, I'm big into like having context cards built out and then being able to use those to create as many assets as you possibly can and making people feel like, oh, wow, this is just for me. But yeah.
So I just did one.
Yeah.
Some photos, and then at the end I said add a flying dragon, and it did.
Yeah. Perfect. But is it a super cool flying dragon?
Fly a dragon.
I like
over
to
the
watch that
river.
flying dragon. I just finished watching, reading this Fourth Wing. I'm just going to become the Fourth Wing.
That's awesome.
Oh, I
See
thought,
at the end,
yeah,
it was just flying.
I love it.
it was like a Game of Thrones dragon.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Riding.
So I have a listing that I don't have video on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably gonna upload all the photos that I have here.
Yep.
And then I have it create a video.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and you can, there's some really cool things that you can do with images where there's a 3D world builder where if you upload the images and a blueprint of the home, it'll create a landing page that you can literally scroll down and it'll be like a walking tour through the home. And so like you can do a lot of really, that's one of my favorite use cases is to upload listing photos and then have it create like a micro virtual tour of the house and it'll like walk through and so the videos with the home, make sure that you tell it to use exactly the images and not to add stuff, because that's one of the things that the AI video gen does like to do is like, oh, well, let's throw in a potted plant here, we'll put an extra door there, we'll do X, Y, and Z. So just with that, you'll want to rein it in to be like, use exactly the photos, don't edit, don't add, you are just making a video walkthrough from my photos. And it might take you a time or two to really like dial it in, because that's probably what AI video struggles with the most is like 100% like accurate copy from things. And so just like really try to guardrail it in by telling it like over and over, you know, this is what I want, do what I want, not what you think is best. But yeah, like that's one of my favorite use cases for it is to turn pictures into video, especially for like socials. If you've got like a web page that it's almost always more engaging to people.
Okay, cool. I'll do it. But so I'm using ChatGPT though.
Yep.
I mean, which one in your opinion is better for that? Gemini or ChatGPT?
So-
I'm paying for ChatGPT.
Just use the Compass. Just use the Compass.
Compass pays for you to have Gemini upgrade.
Just go into your Compass email and then go to Gemini there.
So I do have that. Is it through the app though?
No,
Like if I'm gonna sign in with my.
So like I have like 50 Googles, but like this. So if I click on there and I click on my one, not this one.
Yeah.
And now it's
Does it?
Compass.
So when you go into. Okay. I haven't signed into my Compass email.